Chapter 411. The old commander feels the pain has lessened. Zhang Xiaolong had simply forgotten that his wolf pet was a threat to the others. Although he knew his wolf pet wouldn't hurt anyone, much less his colleagues, it was hard to explain. He could only keep it to himself. Huh. It's great to have breakfast. Don't you forget, kid. Director Liu and I are waiting here. Don't worry. I'll be right back. Leaving the thatched hut, Zhang Xiaolong didn't take his beast pets with him, letting them continue to monitor the surroundings. On the way, Zhang Xiaolong and Li Qian chatted about the case from earlier, and time passed quite quickly. The two soon returned to the police bureau family compound. Sister Qian, here are the keys. By the way, catch up on some sleep at home in a bit. I still have to go to the bureau. The materials haven't been organized yet. This is an order. Other things can wait. Zhang Xiaolong didn't give her a chance to argue. After saying that, he opened the door and entered his own house. There was nothing major going on in the team right now, so those materials could be finished later. There was no rush for a day or half a day. Therefore, there was no need to make the team members work so hard, going to work after staying up half the night. Zhang Xiaolong wouldn't do such a thing. It wasn't his style. In his past life, he earned a salary of a few thousand yuan, but often had to work overtime. And he was the type who was on call 24/7. Even during weekend breaks, his phone had to be kept on at all times. If the manager above couldn't get through, he would be scolded. Precisely because he had been caught in the rain, he wanted to hold an umbrella for his subordinates. Inside the house, Zhang Xiaolong washed his hands and started preparing breakfast. Time was a bit tight today, so he brewed 3 bowls of lotus root powder and boiled some sweet potatoes, and eggs. Sister Qian, ninth sister, you can come over for breakfast now. Jiufeng had already woken up. She had slept soundly during the night and didn't know that her younger brother and Li Qian had already been out on a mission and returned. This was just as well. Li Qian and Zhang Xiaolong naturally wouldn't mention it voluntarily to avoid worrying Jiufeng. If it ended up delaying her studies, the loss would outweigh the gain. After breakfast, Li Qian insisted on taking Jiufeng to school, saying she was worried about encountering enemy agents on the way and feared for Jiufeng's safety. Zhang Xiaolong had no choice but to let her, only emphasizing once more for Li Qian to come back and catch up on sleep after dropping off ninth sister. Beautiful policewoman Li Qian felt a sweetness in her heart. After Li Qian and Jiufeng left, Zhang Xiaolong tidied up, took 2 boxes of brewed lotus root powder, some sweet potatoes, and eggs, and headed out. When he was almost at the destination, Zhang Xiaolong passed the place where the wolf pet was hiding and put them into his space. Then he summoned the owl and put it back into the space to rest, releasing 2 eagle pets to soar in the sky, monitoring the thatched hut and everything around the village. When he returned to the thatched hut, the few bodies outside had already been moved into the house. Otherwise, it would be easy to be discovered, and they would also easily rot and smell. It was much better inside the house, without direct sunlight. Delaying for a day shouldn't be a big problem. According to Zhang Xiaolong's plan, delaying for just 1 day would be enough. After all, the enemy agent's operation was at midnight tonight, and they didn't carry communication tools like radios. So, if there was a handover after completing the mission, it could only be through people or things like homing pigeons to transmit information. Whether it was homing pigeons or people, Zhang Xiaolong had ways to deal with them. If it was homing pigeons, the eagle pets in the sky weren't just for show. They could directly catch the pigeons. As for people, that was even easier. Zhang Xiaolong had at least 10 ways to catch them. The door that had originally been knocked down by the black bear had also been propped up. The quality of the wooden door was actually quite good. Only the top hinge was broken. The bottom hinge was still usable, and the wooden door was put back in place, barely functional. At least from outside the door, nothing looked out of the ordinary. Xiaolong, come in quickly. Lu Ju and Zhang had been sitting behind the door, looking at the situation outside through the crack. Seeing Zhang Xiaolong, he quickly opened the door and said, Director Lu, Brother Lu, come eat breakfast. Zhang Xiaolong walked into the house and put the breakfast he brought on the table. Man, so much food. After eating all this, I probably won't be hungry until the afternoon. Lu Juanzhong wasn't standing on ceremony with Zhang Xiaolong. He grabbed a sweet potato and started eating. Delicious. Director Liu, you eat too. Eat slowly, kid. No one's going to snatch it from you. Director Liu scolded with a laugh, and also picked up a sweet potato. Xiaolong, do you want to eat some more? No, Director Liu. I ate a bit at home before coming. Otherwise I was afraid I wouldn't have the strength to walk. Zhang Xiaolong said jokingly. Is what's in this lunchbox? Lotus root powder. After eating 2 sweet potatoes in a row, Lu Juanzhong felt choked and opened the lunchbox to take a sip of the porridge. He discovered a lotus root fragrance. It was definitely not the ordinary porridge he had imagined. Brother Lu, you must have eaten lotus root powder quite often before. You guessed it right away. Whoa, lotus root powder is good stuff. You're quite generous, kid, to bring such a good breakfast for Director Lu and me. Lu Juanzhong joked gratefully, finishing the lotus root powder in the lunchbox in a few gulps. When he was finished, he didn't forget to use a potato to scrape clean the thick lotus root powder sticking to the lunchbox. This scene made Zhang Xiaolong feel a bit ashamed. He usually just poked the bottom of the bowl a few times with chopsticks and then rinsed it in the sink. Compared to Lu Juanzhong, he was truly wasting food. After breakfast, the 3 of them chatted in the house, taking turns to watch the situation outside at the door. In fact, with the eagle watching from the sky, there was no need for them to keep an eye outside at all. But Zhang Xiaolong couldn't say that. He still followed the current case handling procedures. Dongning City, Military Region, General Hospital. Grandmother, I went around several supply and marketing cooperatives and department stores in the city and bought these watermelons. I wonder if grandfather will like them. Li Changzheng was dripping with sweat, having gone back and forth several times to move over a dozen watermelons into the ward. Lu Yufan took out a handkerchief, distressingly wiping the sweat from her grandson's forehead, and said softly, "Since your grandfather ate the watermelons you brought back, his spirits have improved a lot, and he can eat a couple more bites of food. He also said that he's been able to sleep for an extra half hour these past few days, and even the pain in his body seems to have lessened. However, I always feel it's because his mood has improved, so he has such an illusion." Li Changzheng picked up a watermelon, rinsed it with water, and sliced it open. Grandmother, I think the same as you. Grandfather has such illusions because he has never eaten such sweet watermelons. But then again, as long as grandfather is in a good mood, it's beneficial for the treatment. Chapter 412. This watermelon doesn't suit the old gentleman's taste. Ever since July 16th, when Li Changzheng brought back 2 watermelons. That night, old Commander Li Wenwu had a taste, and to everyone's surprise, his appetite opened up. He ate 4 or 5 slices of watermelon in a row before lying down to rest, still wanting more. Usually at night, due to the torture of his illness, Li Wenwu's sleep quality was extremely poor. Only when he was so exhausted that he could no longer hold out would his sleepiness briefly overcome the pain, allowing him to sleep for a short while. This time wouldn't be very long, only about half an hour. But after eating the watermelon Li Changzheng brought, the pain seemed to miraculously lessen a bit, and Li Wenwu was rarely able to sleep for more than 2 hours. Lu Yufan believed that because the watermelon was brought back by their grandson, it provided her husband with a kind of psychological comfort, thus creating an illusion. However, since these 2 watermelons could put her husband in a good mood, it was naturally a good thing, and there was no need to argue about it. Lu Yufan couldn't bear to eat the watermelons herself, leaving them all for her husband. Whenever Li Wenwu asked her to taste the watermelon too, Lu Yufan would decline with various excuses. When she really couldn't avoid it, she would go out and buy a different watermelon to eat instead. In this way, Li Wenwu stopped insisting. The watermelons Li Changzheng brought were too large. To prevent them from spoiling, Lu Yufan specifically drew well water to keep them iced, which allowed the watermelons to last for a while without rotting. During these few days, Li Wenwu's spirits had indeed improved a bit. Besides eating watermelon with every meal, he could also eat an extra half bowl of rice. This gave Lu Yufan even more hope. If her husband's health could truly get better and better, how wonderful that would be. Unfortunately, the 2 watermelons were quickly finished. Lu Yufan had no choice but to contact her grandson and ask him to buy some more watermelons. Li Changzheng didn't think much of it. It was just watermelon, after all. He would just drive to a few more places and buy a couple whenever he encountered different ones. There was bound to be one that his grandfather liked to eat. So, early this morning, he drove the Jeep and made a round of every place in the provincial capital where watermelons could be bought. He ended up buying these 10 or so watermelons, consisting of about 5 or 6 different sizes. As for the variety, there weren't many varieties of watermelons in those days. They could only be described as watermelons produced in different places. The subtle differences were merely caused by variations in sunlight hours and regional geographical conditions. Cough, cough. Li Wenwu had just dozed off for a bit when he felt an itch in his throat. After a fit of violent coughing, he woke up. Zhang, why are you here? Seeing her husband raise his hand, Lu Yufan hurried over, placed a pillow behind him for support, and helped Li Wenwu sit up. Grandfather, I'm just here to bring you some watermelons. They're very fresh. Try some. Li Changzheng held a slice of watermelon and strode to the hospital bed, speaking with great anticipation. Oh, you kid didn't secretly run off to Anping County to buy watermelons for me, did you? You really don't know the value of things since you don't run the household. How much fuel would you waste on a round trip? We can't waste the country's money just for a little craving of mine. Last time, Li Changzheng had brought the watermelons home on his way back, so he hadn't been scolded by his grandfather. This time, however, he was misunderstood by his grandfather. Oh, husband, Changzheng didn't go to Anping County. I still know that much. I had Changzheng buy these watermelons in the provincial capital. Lu Yufan timely explained, on Li Changzheng's behalf. Oh, that's more like it. I blamed you wrongly just now. Don't be angry with your grandfather. Li Wenwu said as he took the watermelon slice handed over by his grandson. Grandfather is doing it for my own good. How could I be angry with you? Li Changzheng sat by the hospital bed and said with a sincere look, Grandfather, hurry and taste how this melon is. MHM. Under his grandson's watchful gaze, Li Wenwu took a bite of the watermelon. He felt that this watermelon was clearly not that good. When he first held it in his hand, he didn't smell the sweet fragrance of watermelon, or rather, the watermelon scent wasn't rich. Unlike the watermelons he ate 2 days ago, where the unique fragrance could be smelled from several meters away. Once in his mouth, it was nowhere near as delicious and palatable as the melons from 2 days ago. However, since his grandson was staring right at him, he couldn't say anything, otherwise it would easily hurt his grandson's filial heart. Li Wenwu forced himself to eat a few bites, but he didn't feel his appetite opening up at all. His stomach already felt full. But to avoid waste, he forced himself to finish it. Changzheng, you bought so many watermelons at your grandmother and I can't finish them. Take them all back to the unit and share them with your comrades. Putting aside the fact that the old man's words were very tactful, Li Changzheng actually already knew that the watermelons he bought were a failure. From the old man's expression while eating just now, it was clear that the watermelon didn't taste good. 2 days ago, when the old man ate those 2 watermelons given by Zhang Xiaolong, he had a pleasant expression and ate quickly. Moreover, he ate slice after slice, and would even eat some other staple food after finishing. It wasn't like now, where he looked like he was taking bitter medicine, appearing quite forced. Even though the old man tried hard to pretend he didn't dislike it, some things cannot be faked. Li Changzheng grew worried, sigh. Brother Xiaolong, where did you get those watermelons that made my grandfather want to keep eating them? The watermelons bought in the provincial capital definitely wouldn't do. He could only ask Xiaolong for help to get some more watermelons. But how could he satisfy his grandfather and let him eat those watermelons without specifically driving to Anping County? Zhang Xiaolong naturally wouldn't know about Li Changzheng's troubles. At this moment, he was also worrying about whether the enemy agents would actually come. The director of the Anping County Police Bureau and the captain of the criminal police team had all been brought by him to the enemy agents' hiding place. The Bureau still had a mountain of matters to handle. He couldn't keep them here forever, could he? But the matter of capturing the enemy agents couldn't be made public immediately. Even if there was only a 1 in 10,000 chance, Zhang Xiaolong didn't want to give up. He had to hold out through today first. If it really didn't work, Zhang Xiaolong even thought of a more ingenious move. That was to take the high explosives near the agricultural machinery factory and find a deserted place to detonate them. And the detonation time would be set for 12 o'clock tonight, because that was the scheduled action time for the enemy agents. Of course, this was just an idea in Zhang Xiaolong's mind. To implement it, he would have to wait a while, and he would need Director Lu's approval. This was a major matter. After all, once 500 caddies of high explosives were detonated, it could very likely cause some unpredictable risks. Chapter 413. Meeting at the Prefecture Police Bureau. Once Lu Xiangdong agreed to Zhang Xiaolong's suggestion, he would invisibly be taking on a tremendous risk. Being criticized by higher departments was a minor matter. Even receiving a disciplinary warning was acceptable. The most severe consequence might even be losing his position as director. Therefore, Zhang Xiaolong was also worrying about whether he should actually make this suggestion. He knew that as long as he brought it up, Director Lu would definitely give it as much consideration as possible. Zhang Xiaolong then thought of the long-lurking, cunning enemy agent leader, Eagle, who had once caused immense damage to the Anyang region. With such a highly destructive enemy agents, if there was a chance to grasp a lead, it was worth making an effort to try. Having made a decision in his heart, he no longer worried. When a final moment came, he would propose this suggestion to Director Lu and see what he decided. Inside the thatched hut, the door was closed, but the covered window on the wall had been opened to allow for ventilation. Moreover, the house was at least a dozen years old, so it wasn't that sweltering. Inside the meeting room of the Anyang Prefecture Police Bureau, a meeting concerning Zhang Xiaolong was urgently being held. The day before yesterday, Director Li Weiman's experience of extreme highs and lows at the Anyang military subdistrict had caused him to lose face in front of the prefecture leaders. Li Weiman actually didn't want to bring this up. He had been called over by the leaders that afternoon to report the general course of events and the outcome. However, the day after he returned, he was called again by a phone call from a prefecture leader to give a detailed account of the events. At this point, it was impossible for Li Weiman to hide anything, so he could only recount the events in detail, bit by bit. Li Weiman felt secretly lucky that he had called the Anping County Police Bureau early on to personally ask Lu Xiangdong about Zhang Xiaolong's situation. And the prefecture leader just happened to ask about Zhang Xiaolong. This question was raised by Prefectural Party Secretary Ding Yongge, who was very curious. Why would the military subdistrict commander immediately agree to the request to assist in the defense and capture of two fierce bandits, all for the sake of a single policeman from Anping County? And why, in the end, because of Xiao Shuifei's malicious belittling of Zhang Xiaolong, did the request for the military subdistrict assistance end up coming to nothing? Li Weiman then recounted everything he knew in detail. Secretary Ding Yongge nodded repeatedly as he listened, occasionally asking a few questions. Although he didn't say anything complimentary, it was clear from his expression that he had a very good impression of Zhang Xiaolong. Especially when Li Weiman was about to leave, Secretary Ding Yongge said something meaningful. "Comrade Weiman, we are in a new society now. We must never engage in that practice of being jealous of the talented. As the director of the Anyang Prefecture Police Bureau, you must keep a close watch." Sitting at the conference table, Secretary Ding Yonggui's words still rang in Li Weiman's ears. He knew Secretary Ding's character. He rarely spoke such harsh words. Since he took over the police bureau, Secretary Ding had never given any instructions regarding personnel matters. This was Secretary Ding's trust in him, Li Weiman. But this time, Secretary Ding was clearly expressing dissatisfaction with the work of the police bureau. It was no wonder Secretary Ding was dissatisfied. After all, Xiao Shuifei had embarrassed himself all the way to the military subdistrict. The impact caused was quite significant. Li Weiman thought deeply for a day and a night before convening this meeting at this critical moment when manpower was short. "Comrades, our time is limited and the mission is urgent, so I won't say anything unnecessary. I'll bring up one point regarding the proposal made by Comrade Lu Xiangdong of the Anping County Police Bureau. The application to raise the administrative level of the Forest Public Security Joint Defense Brigade under the Anping County Police Bureau to the deputy section level. Comrades present, what are your opinions? Speak your minds freely. Let's have a brief discussion." Everyone immediately looked at each other in surprise. Many people had thought this meeting was to deploy tasks for capturing enemy agents or fierce bandits. Who would have thought Director Li would actually be talking about matters in Anping County? Many didn't even know who Lu Xiangdong was, let alone when he had submitted the application. Li Weiman calmly observed everyone. Besides him, only the executive deputy director, Qian Sudong, and the deputy director in charge of criminal investigation, Xiao Shuifei, knew about this matter. The other comrades were unaware of the specifics. Qian Sudong and Xiao Shuifei's expressions turned very sour. Rejecting Liu Xiangdong's application was a decision made by the two of them. Normally, the matter would have been settled. After all, Qian Sudong was the executive deputy director. For something he had already decided to be brought up at the Bureau Committee meeting was to embarrass him. Bureau Chief Li, I strongly oppose Liu Xiangdong's proposal. The Anping County Forest Public Security Joint Defense Brigade is a department that was only recently established. Moreover, the number of personnel is small, with only 4 official police officers. Setting the administrative level at the section level is already quite good. What's more, the person serving as the brigade leader is only a 16-year-old young policeman. If we follow what Liu Xiangdong says and raise this brigade to a deputy section level cadre position, then this 16-year-old policeman would also be promoted to deputy section chief by association. How would all the police in our Anyang region view this? As soon as Qian Sudong finished speaking, Xiao Shuifei stood up directly. I agree with Director Qian's view. In our Anyang region, there has never been such a young deputy section level cadre. At least within our police system, we absolutely cannot set this precedent. The successive opposition from these two caused a subtle change in the situation. Especially after hearing that this brigade leader was only 16 years old, no one else spoke up in favor of the matter. This created an awkward situation where no one spoke. Although Li Weimin was the director, he couldn't force the other comrades to express their agreement. He secretly gritted his teeth and could only temporarily set the matter aside. Switching to a different topic, the military subdistrict's assistance is now impossible to realize. We currently have limited manpower and must both account for the destruction caused by lurking enemy agents in the region and carry out capture and interception missions as required by the provincial department. Comrades, we must put in more effort and endure more hardship during this period, striving to do well in both tasks. Director, I believe we should prioritize the overall situation. The priority is to go all out in capturing and intercepting the 2 fierce bandits. As for the enemy agents, they haven't made any moves lately, so they likely have no action plans. Xiao Shuifei stood up once again and, without any regard for Li Weimin, voiced his opinion. Li Weimin frowned, feeling very displeased. Why hadn't he realized before that this Xiao Shuifei was so ungrateful and annoying? Chapter 414, The Final Suggestion. Director Xiao, that eagle of our Anyang region is still hidden in the shadows, watching us like a tiger, stalking its prey. Li Weimin reminded impatiently. If this Xiao Shuifei still refused to mend his ways, then he couldn't blame the director for assigning him a good task. Bureau Chief Li, there's something you may not know. I've heard those 2 fierce bandits are about to leave Liaozhong province. Our Anyang region is the final barrier of Liaobei province. Having cast aside all scruples, Xiao Shuifei completely let himself go and continued to talk incessantly. After all, he had already thoroughly offended Li Weimin back at the military subdistrict. Xiao Shuifei didn't mind offending him once more. Only by taking a gamble and proposing a suggestion contrary to Li Weimin's could he win a slim chance of victory. If we really let them pass through our Anyang region and escape into the deep mountains and old forests, then our Anyang police will become the biggest laughingstock. When that time comes, everyone might mock our Anyang Police Bureau, mocking our incompetence and our failure to hold the final line of defense. His words were high-sounding and delivered with flying spittle. Xiao Shuifei had even worked himself into a state of excitement. He felt a sense of high spirits, as if he were the only one capable of the task. Bureau Chief Li, I also agree with Director Xiao's view. The eyes of the police nationwide will ultimately be focused on our region. We cannot afford to lose face like this. Qian Sudong expressed his meaning at the opportune moment. Fine. You two are just great. Qian Sudong, Xiao Shuifei, you've really set your hearts on this, insisting on taking such a risky path, haven't you? Since I'm the police director providing the backup, even if your strategy is wrong, I'm the one who will bear the ultimate responsibility. Ha ha ha. You've really played your abacus well. How could I possibly let things go as you wish? Since that's the case, I will personally take charge of the mission to intercept and capture the fierce bandits." Li Weimin picked up his teacup, took a sip, and spoke with feigned difficulty. Qian Sudong and Chao Shuifei looked at each other, both seeing a hint of surprise and astonishment in the other's eyes. But before they could be happy for even 3 seconds, they heard a passage that made them incredibly frustrated. However, preventing the sabotage activities of enemy agents is also a very important matter. We must not relax. This matter will be the responsibility of Director Qian and Director Chao. As the director, Li Weimin still had this much power. After assigning the tasks, he didn't care what those two thought and directly announced the end of the meeting. Anping County, South City Black Market. Iron Head had been waiting in Anping County for several days, but he still hadn't seen Scarface arrive. During this time, he had returned to Anyang once, but before he could even stay for an hour, he was scolded back by his master, Fourth Master Tao. His master said he was dawdling over a small matter and threatened to replace him if he couldn't handle it. Left with no choice, Iron Head could only bite the bullet and return to Anping County. "So I don't know what Master is thinking, insisting that I come to the South City Black Market to talk business with Scarface. It would be better to follow the rules of our Dragon King Temple Black Market. Just kidnap Scarface directly and force him to hand over the source of goods. Why go through all this trouble?" After several days of pent-up frustration, Iron Head felt extremely stifled. He actually started grumbling to himself in the shadow of a wall. He didn't notice that in the alley diagonally across from the wall, someone had been closely watching his every move. The words he had just muttered were heard by that person, word for word. "Brother Ming, you were right. That guy is from the Anyang region. He seems to be from the Dragon King Temple Black Market. He also has a master. From the way he talks, his master should have some ability. Their goal is to snatch Brother Scarface's source of goods. That guy even boasted about wanting to kidnap Brother Scarface. What? Has this kid eaten a bear's heart and a leopard's gall? He's a guy from Anyang, and he dares to act wild in our Anping County." Upon hearing this, Chen Ming was instantly enraged. There are some things that simply cannot be endured. They were already plotting against Brother Scarface. How could he tolerate this? The opponent was alone, and although he looked sturdy and not like someone to be trifled with. However, Chen Ming and the other 4 were also full of mettle. Now that they knew the opponent's true purpose for being here, there was nothing more to say. "Brother Ming, we can't be cowards. We must give him a taste of bitterness first. Yeah, Brother Ming. Brother Scarface has been as kind to us as a mountain. We can't just stand by and watch others plot against him." "Good. I'm relieved to hear you say that. Let's pack up the stall first, go back, and discuss how to kidnap that arrogant fellow." As the sky gradually darkened, Zhang Xiaolong still hadn't seen any other enemy agents appear. A hint of doubt couldn't help but arise in his heart. Could it be that I'm overthinking? After these enemy agents carry out their sabotage, do they go into hiding individually? Will they not return to the Anyang region? That's impossible. This thatched house is very close to the agricultural machinery factory. It will definitely be found by our police. Therefore, it's impossible for them to continue hiding here. According to the enemy agents' confessions, Eagle's Nest is very well hidden. They have to be blindfolded and led by others whenever they come or go. So, to maintain contact with each other, someone will definitely come here to lead them back to Eagle's Nest. As for why that person hasn't appeared yet, it's either because they haven't arrived or they are waiting for the successful explosion of the agricultural machinery factory. It was getting late, and Zhang Xiaolong felt it was time to bring up his suggestion. Lu Xiangdong showed a look of surprise after hearing it. "Xiaolong, detonating 500 pounds of high explosives could cause massive panic and tremors. This matter isn't something I, a bureau director, can decide. However, I will request instructions from the county leaders as well as the prefecture police bureau." Just as Zhang Xiaolong had expected, after the initial shock, Lu Xiangdong was still inclined toward his suggestion. Otherwise, he would have rejected the proposal right then and there instead of saying he would request instructions from his superiors. "All right, Director Lu. This is just my speculation, and the superiors might blame you. So, when you ask for instructions, just say I was the one who suggested it." "What kind of talk is that? Am I, Lu Xiangdong, the kind of person who only craves credit but doesn't want to bear any risk or responsibility?" Lu Xiangdong patted Zhang Xiaolong's shoulder with a serious expression. All right, time is tight. I'll go back to the bureau first to call for instructions. Director Lu, I'll go back with you. You need to stay at the bureau to command. If there's a result, I'll lead the comrades here to find Captain Lu. That's fine too. Let's set off now. Lu Xiangdong opened the door and was the first to walk out. Chapter 415. Preparing to set a trap for Xiao Xuefei. Zhang Xiaolong followed closely behind and stepped out of the room. Director Lu, I'm going behind the house to relieve myself. I'll be right back. Lu Xiangdong nodded. Zhang Xiaolong went behind the house alone and, in the darkness, released Owl. The eagle pet quickly descended and was taken back into the space by its master. At night, all had to be released. Otherwise, Zhang Xiaolong wouldn't dare leave this place with peace of mind. If an enemy agent really came and there was no response to the meeting signal in the house, he would surely be spooked and flee. Then, all the preparations this time would go down the drain, and there would be no more chance to follow the clues and catch Eagle. Anyang Prefecture. Eagle paced back and forth in the room. Tonight was the scheduled time for the operation. To avenge the failure of the last operation, the agricultural machinery factory in Anping County had to be successfully blown up this time. According to the original plan, the operation to blow up the Anping County agricultural machinery factory should have started long ago. But for some unknown reason, the dispatched operation team had forced a 1-week delay. Eagle waited for 2 days without any news and finally couldn't help but send a liaison to Anping County to investigate, only to find out the operation had been postponed. This forced him to postpone another operation accordingly. For this, he risked sending another secret telegram, fortunately without being discovered by the police. Sir, an enemy agent entered from outside. How are things going? Reporting, sir. As per your orders, the man has been sent out. Once he sees the fire from the explosion, he will lead the Poison Vine Operation First Team back to the secret hideout. Very good, well done. Take this half bottle of wine back with you. Eagle picked up the wine bottle on the table, filled his own glass again, and then gave the bottle to his subordinate. The bottle that was more than half full just now only had 1/3 left. Thank you, sir. The enemy agent's subordinate didn't mind at all, reaching out to take the bottle with an excited expression. Don't be so quick to thank me. Remember, you can only drink after the operation is successful. Understood? Your humble servant understands. This is the celebratory wine bestowed by you, sir. You're a clever lad. Once the operation succeeds, I will recommend you for an award to the higher-ups. Thank you, sir. In the director's office of the Anping County Police Bureau, Lu Xiangdong dialed the Prefecture Police Bureau. Hello. An unfriendly voice sounded from the receiver. The voice was loud, making Lu Xiangdong's eardrums throb and causing him to frown. Sitting next to him, Zhang Xiaolong could hear the anger in the voice. It seemed the person answering the phone was in a very bad mood. Otherwise, why would he sound like he'd swallowed gunpowder? May I ask if you're a bureau chief, Li? Lu Xiangdong tried his best to keep his tone calm. Who is this? I am Lu Xiangdong from the Anping County Police Bureau. There was a brief silence on the other end. Oh, Lu Xiangdong. Calling so late. Is there some emergency? There is indeed an urgent matter that needs to be reported to Bureau Chief Li. Is Bureau Chief Li there? Don't tell me it's about Zhang Xiaolong again. I'm telling you, Lu Xiangdong. The matter of the Forest Public Security Joint Defense Brigade being promoted to the deputy section level will definitely not pass through me. Xiao Xuefei. Zhang Xiaolong's expression changed. After all that, the person on the other end was actually Xiao Xuefei. Even Director Lu didn't recognize him, let alone me. Since it was Xiao Xuefei, it made sense. He had lost a lot of face in Anping County and made a fool of himself. No wonder his tone was so aggressive. And there was that application Brother Lu mentioned before. Director Lu had stopped him just as he started talking about it. Now hearing what Xiao Xuefei said on the phone, Zhang Xiaolong finally understood what was going on. It turned out Director Lu had been quietly submitting applications, wanting to promote the Forest Public Security Joint Defense Brigade to the deputy section level. And ultimately, it was to promote him, the brigade leader, to the deputy section level. Zhang Xiaolong was still very grateful to Director Lu. Unlike the company bosses in his previous life, who always drew empty promises but never fulfilled them, It made him feel like a mule with a carrot dangling in front of its nose. However, the bamboo pole holding the carrot was tied to his own body. No matter how far he walked forward, he could never eat the carrot. In the end, he did no less work, even much more, but got nothing in return. Xiao Shuifei, I'm telling you, this matter is very important. It's a major case involving enemy agents. I must report it to Director Li. Lu Xiangdong also got angry. This Xiao Shuifei really couldn't distinguish between priorities, especially with his habit of letting personal grudges interfere with work. Recently, all cases concerning enemy agents are handled by Director Qian and me. If there's anything, just report directly to me. Lu Xiangdong then explained the capture of enemy agents in Anping County and applied to detonate the explosives to try and find clues about Eagle. Lu Xiangdong, do you think Eagle is that easy to catch? You're thinking too simply. With so much police force in our Anyang prefecture, we haven't caught this Eagle for so many years. You, the tiny Anping County Police Bureau, still want to use such an unreliable method to find traces of Eagle. This proposal doesn't need to be considered. That's all. Immediately after, the phone on the other end was hung up, and a dial tone came from the receiver. Lu Xiangdong gritted his teeth, took several deep breaths before hanging up the phone, and then shook his head. Xiaolong, you heard everything. Director Lu, if it's really not possible, let's just drop it. We've done our best anyway. Zhang Xiaolong never expected the Prefecture Police Bureau to entrust such an important matter to someone like Xiao Shuifei. He really didn't know if Xiao Shuifei's way of handling things was a blessing or a curse for Anyang Prefecture. Director Lu had already received a baffling scolding because of the suggestion he had made. He couldn't very well ask him to keep making phone calls. Lu Xiangdong slammed the table hard. This cannot be abandoned like this. I'll call Secretary Wang right now and ask for his instructions. Wait a moment, Director Lu. Zhang Xiaolong remembered the matter of the bet with Xiao Shuifei and spoke hurriedly. What is it, Xiaolong? Lu Xiangdong stopped cranking the telephone and asked, somewhat puzzled. Director Lu, Xiao Shuifei is not to be trusted. I'm afraid he might turn around at the last minute and bite us back, accusing us of acting on our own without requesting instructions from the higher-ups beforehand. Then what do you mean? Personally, I think Director Lu could make another call to the Prefecture Police Bureau in front of Secretary Wang. If Xiao Shuifei still maintains this attitude, then Secretary Wang will be our best witness.